Hi everyone. Alright, so psychologists say we spend 1/3 of our waking hours doing this. In fact, most of you might be doing it right now as I speak, and you can't help it, your mind wanders sometimes during a really boring conversation or a really, really bad lecture. But I'm here to tell you it's okay. It's perfectly normal to daydream. Oftentimes we are reprimanded by our teachers, parents, and even friends for not listening to what they say. Even the dictionary defines it as a series of pleasant thoughts that distract one's attention from the present. Well, today I want to explain to you some reasons why daydreaming is actually beneficial to our life rather than the lazy act it is regarded as. The first thing that this mind wandering can help us with are personal issues. Issues that are work-related, school-related, or even just private problems. For example, a fight. People replay it in their heads a million times. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Couldn't I have done that better? And each time, each different scenarios kind of helps them solve it. Whether it be this time or like in the future for a different relationship. In an online article on WebMD, doctors say that you can even maintain relationships. You guys know the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder? Well, this is kind of what it pertains to. When a couple is just dating, newlyweds, whatever the case may be, when they're apart, they seem to think about each other more often, daydream about each other, and that kind of psychologically maintains relationship and keeps it going longer. And in a college setting, students think about job applications and university applications, right? And there's always that big essay question or the interview question that always gets you. You have to think about it. It requires some thought. Well, sometimes it's just like the best way to do it. You guys are sitting in a classroom and then it just hits you. Like you know exactly what to say, exactly what to write down. And it's sometimes the best way to answer the question because you're not exactly sitting there trying to figure it out. It just kind of hits you. It just comes to you. And we've all heard of people in the workplace stuck at positions that they don't want to be at. They want to move forward. They want to get promoted. Well, you can have an imaginary conversation with your boss. Imagine being fired. Imagine quitting. Weighing out the pros and cons of each, and whatever the case, daydreaming seems to help sort things out and organize it all. Not only can daydreaming help with problems within your life, but it can also spark imagination and creativity. It seems as though innovative ideas are kind of a rare commodity in our society, with TV and whatever, computer, and video games, but daydreaming can actually help us establish some sort of originality. I'm sure most of you guys recognize this, right? This yellow sticky thing? Well, this is a Post-it. I don't know if you guys know the story of how it came to be. One Sunday morning, a guy named Arthur Fry was just sitting there listening to a sermon, but he was getting distracted. He was in the choir, and he was looking down at his hymn book, and he realized that he needed a better way to bookmark things. So he tore out little pieces of scraps of paper, and he stuck it in the book, but every time he opened it, papers would fall out, and he would lose his place in the end. So instead of focusing on what was being said, he just started thinking, what could stick to these pages and keep his place but wouldn't rip when he took it out? And right there in a church, the Post-it was born. Another example tied to creativity is with kids. A group of researchers asked a class of elementary school students to write down tales of whatever they could, fantasy, horror, adventure, whatever. They looked over it and they found that they read all the stories and they were all really boring, sounded all the same, really tedious, and they believed that it has correlation with this school not encouraging them to daydream, always making them do busy work, stuff to keep their minds just going, but not letting them just kind of wander off in their own little world. And that kind of took away from their imagination. So if you think about it, without daydreaming, there wouldn't be movies, books, or even a lot of things we have around today, like cell phones, different programs for computers. It all wouldn't be here. Everything starts somewhere, and most happen through some random thought. Of all these things daydreaming helps us with, the most important has to be relaxation. In order to get anything done, a well-rested mind goes a long way. Okay, so picture yourself on a beach, in a movie with some really, really hot actor, or just rich, having everything you could possibly imagine. In all these cases, your mind is somewhat freed. And instead of thinking about the speech you still have yet to write, you picture yourself in a scenario that is relatively stress-free. It may be hard to believe, but while you're doing this or the million other things you can be thinking about, your brain is actually working harder. In a study from the University of British Columbia, there is proof that our brain is more active when we are preoccupied than when we are dealing with mundane, simple, everyday tasks. They found that the brain's executive network, which is the part that deals with complex problem solving, is actually activated. And I actually have a really quick picture to show you guys. Alright, so you can see the bottom part is when people are just actually trying to focus on their work, just doing tasks, filing papers and whatnot, and then the upper part is when they're actually just daydreaming. And all the orange parts that are lit up shows you like where the brain is activated, where it's stimulated, and where it's actually working. Alright, so how is this possible? You know how people get really crazy and stressed out during like midterms or final exams? And all they need to do is kind of just take a break. And this is what it kind of helps with. Your brain rests a little bit, and then you come back more focused with more attention, and everything just helps. It's the same reason why you're really tired, you go to sleep and feel refreshed in the morning. Your brain needs to sleep too. So the best way to ease this all is take a mental vacation. And then you hear the term clear your mind, take deep breaths, and when you do this, it's all about just resting your brain and helping it function better. So today I've showed you how letting your mind wander can help you with personal issues, jumpstart creativity, and how it's just best to sit back and relax. Clearly, daydreaming isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. In fact, it is probably the most active thing your brain can do while you're inactive. So hopefully we can all stop overthinking and keep on daydream believing. Thank you.
You don't have to stand up there
Okay.
to hear the comments. That's okay. You don't worry about that. All right, Jocelyn, you here? What did you think?
I liked it. I liked the visual. It was like actually important that it's good. It's okay to daydream because our minds go farther. And I overall like the speech. It's entertaining and like alive.
Okay. All right, well, Kat, I liked the introduction. I thought you had an okay greeting, and you had a statistic and a little bit of definition, a little bit of suspense in the attention device. That works. Your topic's very clear. You have an excellent thesis statement for what you're talking about. I didn't think the preview was as clear as it could be. It seemed to me like it was one point, and then as I'm listening to it, well, maybe that's all of the points, and it needs to be a little bit more distinct. Internally, though, when you were signposting, it was pretty clear when you went to the second point. The third point I thought was also a little dusty on that. It needed to be a little bit clearer. I thought you had excellent supporting material and explanations. The best part of the speech are all of the stuff that you do to give us examples and illustrations, to explain the concepts. I thought that worked really well. The visual materials, the post-it reference was fine. The picture that you had, it was large enough to see. I think I could use a little bit more explanation of what all the brain activity means in those particular images. Is it just the amount of yellow that we're seeing or orange that is important? And the contrast in the information needs to be sharpened a little bit. The presentation, it's very solid. You look at us, you talk fluently. It's easy to hear you doing all those kinds of things that we'd want people to be doing, like at the end of the term. So you're doing very well on all of that. And the summary, I think, helps a little bit with that organizational issue that you had at the beginning of the speech, because it does kind of give it a little bit more coherence at the end. All right, thank you.